Kamala Harris has suspended her campaign for the Democratic nomination for 2020. This is just in. This is being reported everywhere. And just to make sure it was official, Kamala Harris put out her own Medium article. It's entitled, "I'm suspending my campaign today." So leave all speculation behind you guys. You don't need to fact check this one. I got the Medium article written by Kamala Harris right in front of me. So what I want to do is go through her Medium article where she explains why she's ending her campaign. And then I have some words myself about the ending of her campaign. Now, this is what Kamala says in her own words. She says, 11 months ago at the launch of our campaign in Oakland, I told you all I'm not perfect, but I will always speak with decency and moral clarity and treat all people with dignity and respect. I will lead with integrity. I will speak the truth. And that's what I've tried to do every day of this campaign. So here's the truth today. I've taken stock and looked at this from every angle, and over the last few days have come to one of the hardest decisions of my life. My campaign for president simply doesn't have the financial resources we need to continue. I'm not a billionaire. I can't fund my own campaign. And as the campaign has gone on, it's become harder and harder to raise money we need to compete. In good faith, I can't tell you, my supporters and volunteers, that I have a path forward if I don't believe I do. So to you, my supporters, it is with deep regret, but also with deep gratitude that I am suspending my campaign today. But I want to be clear with you. I am still very much in this fight, and I will keep fighting every day for what this campaign has been about. Justice for the people, all the people. Our campaign has been about fighting for people whose voices that have not been heard or too often ignored. We will keep up that fight. Let's remember, we were the first to put the injustice of inadequate teacher pay on the national agenda. We will keep up that fight. We were the first to demand justice for our children, declaring we would take bold executive actions to stop gun violence. We will keep up that fight. We were the first to demand justice for women with a plan to block unconstitutional state abortion laws. We will keep up that fight. And our campaign uniquely spoke to the experiences of black women and people of color and their importance to the success and future of this party. Our campaign demanded no one should be taken for granted by any political party. We will keep up the fight because no one should be made to fight alone. And I believe our campaign showed every child in America, regardless of their color or gender, that there are no limits to who can lead and hold positions of power in our country. In that way, this campaign has been so much bigger than me. I am extremely grateful to the hundreds of staff who moved and uprooted their lives and sacrificed time away from their families. I know our fight has been personal for each of them. Of course, I could not have done this without my husband, Doug, and my entire family and friends who gave up so much to embark on this journey with me and have supported me every step of the way. And I'm grateful to the thousands of volunteers and contributors who chipped in, who knocked on doors, who made calls, who put their faith and trust in me. It has been the honor of my life to be your candidate. And I want to be clear, although I am no longer running for president, I will do everything in my power to defeat Donald Trump and fight for the future of our country and the best of who we are. I know you will too. So let's do that together. Let's keep fighting for the America we believe in, an America free of injustice, an America that we know we can be unburdened by what has been. Thank you. Kamala. All right, well, I have to say that was a classy exit for Miss Kamala Harris. Senator Kamala Harris, who once again has suspended her campaign as of today. Now, if you just take a close, I made a couple of notes here as I was going through that announcement. Once again, that's a Medium article that you can read. It's online on Medium. She says, my campaign for president simply doesn't have the financial resources we need to continue. So we know that fundraising had become an issue for the Kamala Harris campaign. And she was being outraised by a number of her counterparts, going back to like the third quarter, I think it was. When third quarter fundraising came in, there were many others ahead of her. These were like the first signs that maybe there was a rapid decline in her campaign and the popularity of her campaign. As the numbers in the polls, she started to drop in the polls, so did her donations, so did her appearances, and it's sort of like a chain reaction occurs. I find it interesting here. It seems like Kamala is also pointing at the billionaires that have entered this race and how these billionaires are able to use their own money to finance their own campaigns. Sort of these novelty campaigns. She says here, I'm not a billionaire. I can't fund my own campaign. And as the campaign has gone on, it's become harder and harder to raise the money we need to compete. So she said it twice about money and resources. And then she goes on to say in good faith, she can't tell you, supporters and volunteers, that she has a path forward if she doesn't. So it seems like maybe Kamala Harris came to a point where she felt it would be unethical to continue if she couldn't see a way through for a successful run. As we know, people uproot their lives, as she stated later in her document. People who work for you do uproot their lives. They move across country. They leave behind their former jobs, family members. Things happen on the campaign trail to family members while you're away. It's devastating. So Kamala Harris, I think she did the classy thing. In fact, if you've been following this show, you'll know that I've been calling for her to do this for a while. Yeah. I've been calling for Kamala Harris to drop out, and I'm glad she dropped out. Now, I don't say that because I hold animosity towards Kamala Harris. I say that because I can hear and I can see. Look, if there's no path for victory, you're already a senator. You're already very well accomplished. Why damage your sitting, your credibility? Why damage the possibility of re-election? Why look weak when you come in this thing strong? So I like the fact she goes out now. She doesn't wait for a Hail Mary in a debate performance where she'll have to pull out something miraculous to sort of bounce back in the polls. Kamala Harris calls it a wrap today. And I think that's gutsy. I think there's going to be a lot of talk and she's going to make the media rounds. But all in all, I think it was the right decision. Like I stated, this, if you don't see a path for victory, what are you doing? She's not in a position where she's out of politics. And how devastating would it be for her to continue to free fall in the rankings as a sitting senator? Remember back with Kirsten Gillibrand, she got out of this thing months ago. She saw the writing on the wall, and she says, you know what? Hey, I'm good. I don't need this, nor do I need to damage my reputation. I'm just waiting for other senators to kind of wake up and smell the coffee around here. What are they waiting on? What's Amy Klobuchar waiting on? Oh, I know, Bill Maher said some nice things about her, so she got a little uptick in the polls. But what's that really worth? Not much. Cory Booker should be next. What's Cory Booker waiting on? Like, at some point, people have to accept reality. Now, I'm not one of those people that feels badly for candidates, especially not candidates who are congresspeople and senators. You're already killing it when it comes to life in general. That's a very humongous accomplishment to be a senator or a congressperson. We should all be so fortunate to be so advanced in our careers where we could be senators. There hasn't been that many senators. Kamala Harris is what, the second black woman to be a senator? I think you're already crushing it. Not only that, I think being a president is not something anybody is entitled to. It should be hard as hell to be a president. It should be the hardest thing you ever do, not just in your candidacy. Actually run for the highest office in the land. It should be an art more than arduous, more than strenuous. It should be almost destroying of oneself. I mean, the power that office holds. Now, I know you wouldn't know it by looking at who's in there now, but it should take a lot. The fact that Donald Trump occupies that White House right now, to me, is the clearest indication that the Democratic Party needs to get their crap together. That's because they ran that Hillary Clinton person. But I digress. Today, this moment right now, is for Kamala Harris. So I made a couple of notes why I think Kamala Harris's campaign came to such an abrupt ending. Let me know what you think, guys. Number one, she had no clear vision. What was her clear vision? And when I mean clear vision, I mean, why did Kamala Harris run to begin with? What reason did she have for running? What was her mission? Other than power, other than notoriety, what was her mission? Why was she running? If you can tell me that, you can, hey, if you can answer that question, you just won yourself something. I mean, Oprah needs to give you something. Ellen needs to give you something. You get a car, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. I mean, come on, guys. Think real hard. What was Kamala Harris's reason for running? Coupled with that, I don't even know what her tagline was. I'm going to prosecute Trump. That's not a catchy tagline. What's her signature policy? What's her signature policy? Come on, guys. Everybody in this race who's making waves has a signature policy. What was Kamala Harris's signature policy? Oh, she wanted to help the kids. That's not a policy. Policies are Medicare for all. Policies are freedom dividend. Policies are, I don't know, ask Elizabeth Warren. She's got 1 million of them, but no specific. And that's why she's dropping too. You need a signature policy. Something that when people think of you, they think of this thing. Kamala Harris never had that, which brings me to my next point. Bad strategy. You got to start with something besides, here I am, aren't I amazing? I'm black. I'm a woman. We need more than that. The country deserves more than that. In fact, as you can, based on this, based on what we see here, the country demands more than that. So what are some of the missteps that the campaign made? Besides not having a signature policy, besides not, and if they had one, not articulating it. It's not that I'm trying to be obtuse. I don't know what it was. So if you had a signature policy, if you had a cause or a mission that was critical and people wanted it, if I don't know it, if I can't say it, if I can't repeat it, then you haven't sold it. You haven't embraced the branding. You haven't communicated effectively. It's not up to us. You can't blame the customer, which is what I see a lot of. Speaking of blaming the customer, one of the things that really hurt Kamala Harris that brings us to the screeching halt is there was a lot of blaming. Oh, there was so much blaming. Oh man, it almost makes you want to just go away, like go sit down and just remove yourself from the whole conversation. I mean, if I had to sit through another Joy Reid, Dr. Jason Johnson charade of how we are letting Kamala Harris down, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, if I listen to one more black pundit tell me I got to accept Kamala and there's something wrong because I don't like Kamala or I'm not behind her candidacy, I don't know what I'm going to do. And this constant barrage of berating of black voters simply because somebody has some pigmentation is beyond me. It's beyond me, really. It's crazy stuff. Nobody owe you a vote because you happen to have the same fondness for cocoa butter. So that became horrifically inundating and annoying and downright offensive. I don't know how other people get treated, but I know how we were treated as the black community, as black commentators, as black people in media, because we weren't so warmed up to Kamala Harris, which for other reasons we'll get to. So I'm not saying that's her fault, but you guys did not help her by shooting the messengers and by berating those people who were behind her campaign. Some signature missteps. No signature policies, but she had a signature misstep. Calling out Joe Biden. If you gonna come for the man, you best not miss. I said, if you're going to come for the man, you best not miss. She shot and she missed. Kamala came for Joe Biden in a very telegraphed play in order to gain more momentum for her campaign. And she missed. Not only did she miss, she backed off after she missed. She didn't even double down on the miss. People never forgot it. It was a miscalculation. She used race, busing, and then started that line of attack or questioning of his record, which I think is fair game, which I know it's fair game, but you started off by saying, well, I don't think you're racist. But that was sort of like the basis of her whole argument, is that he had racist tendencies. And it was wishy-washy to begin with. And the whole showboating of, I was bussed, and then it turns out, well, maybe not so much. Not to mention, there were a lot of black folks who didn't like busing. They didn't like their kids going 2 hours away. A lot of white kids either. So the whole busing was never very popular to begin with. So regardless to how you feel about busing now, how you felt about it 40 years ago may be different. But be that as it may, what I'm saying is that the attack on Joe Biden did not stick and it was not effective. Another reason why Kamala Harris is out, or why the money dried up, was a little thing called Tulsi Gabbard's smackdown. Oh, Lord. And it wasn't just that Kamala Harris was being questioned on her record. It was the flamboyant, it was the arrogant posturing instead of the forthcoming rebuke of the questioning of her record. There was the, I'm above you. I'm a top-tier candidate. Come on, guys, we all know this. That hurts you. Is this a presidential debate, or is this a club with fine women in it with some ugly guys trying to get dates? Because Kamala Harris acted like she was a fine woman at the club, and the rest of America were a bunch of ugly guys trying to buy her a drink. And that doesn't bode well. Now, it may bode well in a hip-hop club, but it ain't going to bode well on the stage. People did not like it. Well, I don't know who she is. Who? Tulsi who? I don't know her. She beneath me. I'm a top tier candidate. She a fringe candidate. I only have to dignify her questions, which, by the way, were very important questions about your record and about how you treated black folks, which are the constituency that you need, that you're saying must give you a vote. So there's just so much ignoring that people could do with that, even if they were on your team. No, why were you prosecuting parents? You never answered the question. You never answered why were you prosecuting parents for truant children. You never answered the question of what happened in the lab exactly. You never answered the question of why you let that man out of jail when the DNA came back negative, or why did you keep the firefighters at work? And my favorite, why Steve Mnuchin not Treasury Secretary when he should be out of business? Like, these are all valid questions. Questions that we've been talking about in independent media for about 2 years, some longer. Tulsi Gabbard was merely the vessel to communicate that to you on the public stage, but we've been talking about it for years. Once again, it was not just that these issues were brought up. It was Kamala's reaction to them. Then there was the policy wavering. Hey, look, if you're going to do something, do it all the way. If you say you support Medicare for all and you co-sponsor a bill, maybe you should stick with it. I'm just saying it doesn't breed much trust if you, as a senator, sign on to some legislation, and then when it's time to stand behind it, you don't know what it is, you don't know what it means, now you misunderstood, and these things just don't bode well. I don't know if I still support that. Well, why just sign it? We'll wait. These things were devastating to a campaign. See, some people want to contribute or attribute the fall of Kamala Harris to just one thing, just a Tulsi Gabbard run-in. But I submit to you guys, it was more than that. It was a culmination of a lot of issues. Word salad on the stump, wavering on policy points, not having a clear mission statement. I don't even know what the tagline was. Kamala Harris for the people. She never 100% or even close to it shored up the base about her prosecutorial record. And you had to know going in that was going to be an issue. I mean, I heard Hillary Clinton said back in 2016 that if you ever wanted to run for office, you would have a hard time because of your prosecutorial background. So how could you go into an election cycle? How could you run without a game plan on how to deal with that? I don't know. I don't know what Kamala Harris thought or what Team Kamala thought or the K-Hive thought would happen. I mean, there's just so many soft interviews that Charlamagne the Guy can give you. It's just so much ignoring that hip-hop media owned by a bunch of rich white folks can give you a pass to the whole black community. It's just so much black folks is going to take it. And the white allies that we do have, we're going to hold you accountable as well. So how was that supposed to work? What was supposed to happen? Everybody's supposed to act like they couldn't hear or they couldn't see or they couldn't read your background? And then as things got harder and harder for Kamala Harris, she didn't get smarter and better. She didn't get better on the stump. She didn't get better at answering questions. She came up with horrible policies like her last one, what was it, the Trump Twitter? Your big idea is to get Trump off Twitter? You know, I mean, all the crap that's going on in this country right now, everything that's happening, all the struggling, the average homeowner or the average family can't afford a $400 emergency. People dying of opiate addiction. People still getting locked up for marijuana. We still sticking our fingers in our hands in other countries' election processes or the regime change still going on. Now we're trying to impeach Trump and all this is happening, and you're talking about Twitter. Who gave you the idea that was a good idea? What idiot? Just so we're really, really clear, who told you to go with that? Who made that call? So, let the record show there were missteps all across the board. You know, part of my rationale for saying that I thought it was time for Kamala Harris to bow out. A lot of people took it as it was just me being negative, but I really thought that if you want to turn around, if you do want to run for office, because hey, who's to say that this won't be an endeavor that you pursue later? Who's to say where your career goes from here? There may be a cabinet position. There's a lot of opportunity, okay? But there are things you got to get better at. And you don't destroy your career, which could happen, going after something you're obviously not ready for at the time. Now, you can say America may not be ready for you, or however you feel more comfortable saying it. I tend to believe that you weren't ready for the position. You weren't ready for the limelight to this extent. And these problems with your policy points, which you stand for, wasn't totally formulated. People had too many questions. You weren't handling it like a pro. So it's still going on. They're still doing it. I'm sure right now the media is going to blame voters. We'll say we're racist or that we're misogynist, or and for black folks, they're going to say we're Uncle Toms or Coons or we don't love black women or a bunch of other crap. At the end of the day, I'll just speak for myself. If I thought that Kamala Harris was the answer to my problems, the answer to the problems for the country, I would have ride or died for her. But I didn't feel that way. I still don't feel that way. Not enough people felt that way. Wasn't just me. So, as this thing shakes out, there are going to be a lot. Look, at the end of the day, it can only be one nominee from the Democratic Party. There are going to be a lot of people exiting stage left. Heavens to Murgatroyd Johnson. It's not just going to be Kamala Harris. There should be another. How many people in this race still? 15 people? There should be another 14 people filing out. One by one or two by twos. I can think of at least 5 people that need to leave right now. The fact that John Delaney is still in this, it's just because he has money doesn't mean it should be wasted on this run. This is a waste of time for him. Kamala, if you had money and you stayed in this would have been a waste of your money. I'm glad you don't have money to run on your own dime because you're not ready. You're not ready. And it's okay not to be ready. And I want to make this clear, guys. I want to make this really, really clear. I don't just fault Kamala Harris. I fault the power structure of the Democratic Party. Somebody told her, go ahead and run. No sound policies, no signature policy, no foundation for running, no core mission statement, and a bunch of shaming, vote shaming, voter shaming. What's that about? How are you going to you can't win an election that way. It's like you learned nothing from Hillary Clinton. In fact, shaming voters is repellent to success. Now, before we wrap this up, I want to make it clear that there were people who were disgustingly pushing Kamala Harris, ignoring reality. I don't think that the prosecutor should be the nominee from the Democratic Party. Not when we are the leading country in incarceration. That when we lock up more people than any other country, should the Democratic Party present its nominee to be a prosecutor who assisted in mass incarceration. I think that is disgusting, offensive, and regressive. It damn sure ain't progressive. I feel the same way about Amy Klobuchar. She should be next. Kamala Harris is out of this race. Kudos to her for recognizing that this was not going to work out for her. Kudos to her stepping up and ending it now. Ending it now. Sometimes losing quicker is better. I think this is one of those times. Kamala Harris is a senator. She's already very accomplished. This is the first time she's ever lost an office that she's ever run for. So maybe it took a while for it to sink in. But let it be known, if you don't have a compelling reason for running to be the president of the United States, and that compelling reason can't just be, I hate Trump. Trump stink. Trump's a bastard. Trump's a liar. Trump's a liar. Trump's racist. That's not a compelling reason. If you don't have a compelling reason for running or why people should vote for you, then you're wasting your time and ours. That's what I feel that really sunk Kamala Harris. It wasn't just Tulsi Gabbard. It was a campaign in disarray. There have been articles coming out about it. And look, and I don't give total stock to anybody who leaves Kamala Harris's campaign and joins Michael Bloomberg. I mean, really, that lady, I don't, but the underlying reality that there were problems on the campaign trail, that there was a lack of cohesion and structure and leadership in that campaign, that's important. That is relevant. Not so much the messenger of that reality, if that makes sense. It's not so much the actual person who wrote the articles about the campaign being in disarray. It's the fact that it was in disarray. So there you go. Kamala Harris, her campaign has been suspended, but she says she's still in the fight. And she's going to do everything she can to help defeat Donald Trump. I think this will be seen as a gutsy move for Kamala Harris and the best move she can make at the time. Become a member of the Tim Black Wolf Pack today right here on YouTube or go to patreon.com, Tim's Take Live. Do it today. Wolf Pack.